right, we are back here on the Just End the Suffering podcast. March Madness is in full swing, but we are taking a break here from the tournament to get ready for the Oscars on Sunday night. And joining me today, our resident film critic on the podcast, BarStool Sports own Jon Stanko. John, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mike. How you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. We are recording ahead of the tournament, so when we're speaking in the past, I'm hoping that my bracket is not completely busted by the time I'm talking to you.
No, I'm sure it'll be fine. I think we were talking a little bit before the pod. It's kind of a wide open tournament. And I think there's maybe only one or two teams that we think for sure going to the Final Four. Otherwise, it's an absolute crapshoot. So, I mean, just hope for entertainment value at this point.
Absolutely. And I think the last time we were on the podcast, I think was back at the year-end pop culture party. So I want to get your take on two Star Wars things. I think you're a big Star Wars guy. Number one, Book of Boba Fett. The Sky Guys and I we're not super high on that show. I'm guessing you're probably a little lower than we were.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. I think the two episodes that featured The Mandalorian were good. Shocking development there because The Mandalorian is what people thought Boba Fett would be, but it's just they put him in a different body. Not a great show. Every episode that Robert Rodriguez directed was not good. Like I did not enjoy the finale. There were so many different plot holes and just things that were wrong that the sizing of the Ragnarok and different aspects of the fight was insane and didn't like all that. Just very, very uneven show, which had some great high moments, but they all featured the Mandalorian. And some very, very low moments, including the Power Rangers. So just not a lot of positive things in that show. I'll remember a few little bits and pieces, but let's just say I'm not holding my breath for season 2.
So what do you think of the spin move in the finale?
I mean, I wish they all died. It was a perfect excuse to kill them. Raise some stakes, put them in actual danger, kill off this biker gang where you could actually say the main characters are in danger because their friends are dying. And also you make the fans happy because nobody likes them. Now, granted, there's no way they can know the fans will revolt against them as bad as they did when they're making the show, but they were the biggest swing and a miss by far. Nobody liked them. Like not one person I talked to had a positive remark to say about them.
Yeah, I think we called them the Cyberpunk Power Rangers on our podcast. That was the term we came up with.
It's crazy. Like I said Power Rangers when I watched it, and then I go on social media and everyone's saying Power Rangers. Like it was a thing that everyone agreed upon. They're just in the wrong show.
Yeah. Yeah, we said literally that now that Boba Fett became Zordon because he hired teenagers with attitude.
Yeah, it was not good at all. It was disappointing. I mean, it was fine. It's Star Wars. I'm gonna watch it. It's slop, right? But I'm not gonna go back and rewatch any episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Like not at all. If there's any relevant parts, they're revolving around the Mandalorian, which they'll show in the Mandalorian like previews before the episode. So I'll just see the bits and pieces I need to.
Yeah, other one here that came out last week on Day Record, the Obi-Wan trailer. Your take on that?
Got me excited. Won't lie to you. The Grand Inquisitor and all that stuff, really cool. The trailer was very well constructed to hit you in all the nostalgia buttons as possible. The Duel of Fates music, I don't know if that was really necessary. I don't think of Obi-Wan when I think of Duel of Fates. I think of Qui-Gon Jinn or Darth Maul. So that one didn't land for me as much as the other people who, I mean, you hear the music and get excited, but I was like, this is Obi-Wan. A little weird for me, but love the motif of the idea of a hope, right? Because Obi-Wan is the only hope. Hope is reborn, whatever. Hope kindles. I do like that theme that they're going with there, kind of keeping the strands between this show and the New Hope, which would be the story following it. So I'm just very excited for that show. I like that it's a short mini series. They're not messing around with the possible season 2. It's this. This is the confined story. They also didn't show Vader. We only heard his breath, so they know what the audience wants. So very well constructed trailer. Very excited for when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Rupert Friend playing the Grand Inquisitor. I was a big Homeland guy. He played Peter Quinn on Homeland. I think he's gonna be phenomenal in the role. And I don't know if you heard, but apparently like that show went through a massive rewrite. Apparently it was a darker script, and I think on day of recording, Hollywood Reporter put a story out that apparently like Darth Maul was supposed to would be brought back in live action in this show, and then they scrapped it. They said, you know what, the story's gonna get too similar to Mandalorian, where we're having Obi-Wan try to protect Luke, so they rewrote the story and brought the Inquisitors and Vader in instead.
I actually kind of like that, to be honest with you. Darth Maul had a lot of time in the Clone Wars, and he was great. I know he's a lot in Rebels as well. There's a big fight with Obi-Wan in Rebels, which I've seen. I haven't seen the entire series, but I've seen that fight. So I'm kind of happy they're not bringing Darth Maul back in live action. Let him live because he ended his legacy really well with those 2 animated shows, and people remember his character fondly.
Yeah, I think there's a place for Darth Maul in the Star Wars live action universe. I don't think this is the spot for it. I think there's
I,
other shows that fit him better.
I would agree. I would agree with you.
All right, let's get to the reason you're here, which is the Oscars here, and give me some general thoughts on the nomination. It came out a couple of weeks ago. I've been doing some homework. I've been watching a lot of the movies. You watched a lot as well, so I feel like we covered a pretty good base of the movies.
Yeah, my first thought was when you get the nominations is holy crap, I'm running out of time to see all these things. I've seen quite a bit. I'm happy with where I am with 2 weeks to go. It'll be a little bit of a push to the finish, but just it's a great opportunity to kind of get the tunnel vision of what movies that you should see when you make time and when you have time to focus on them. So that was my first thought is great. Now I just know what I need to watch. Second thought was very excited because my two favorite movies from this year, in my opinion, the two best movies from this year in terms of both enjoyment, but also in terms of craft, were Power of the Dog and Dune. And they were number 1 and number 2 in nominations. So I was very happy to see that. And then my two other thoughts were this year I made a focus on seeing more short documentaries, and I've seen I think almost all the nominees, 4 out of the 5, and I see many of the contenders, so I'm happy with myself for that. And my other one, Mike, we've been talking about this back and forth. We've been talking about what movies we've seen, and you've done a better job than I have. You've seen more of the best pictures than I have at this point. But get all the nominations in one place and get them all for one cost. Put them on the Criterion channel for a subscription. You pay $100, but you get to see all the nominees. I would buy that in 2 seconds. I am very tired of going back and forth streaming services, borrowing passwords, renting for $20. I can't do that. I can't bring myself to rent a movie for $20. So that's my other gripe is just get all the nominations in one central point. Because one of the biggest gripes with the Oscars, Mike, if they're going to talk about it leading up to it, is not everyone has seen these movies. But if you put them all in one place for one cost, guess what? More people may watch them. So those are my 4 biggest takeaways.
Oh, I'm right there with you on the last one. I've seen 9 of the 10 at this point of the best picture. Now the only one I did not get to was Licorice Pizza because I can't find that anywhere on a streamer right now, and like I'm not paying $20 to rent Licorice Pizza. I happen to have a free rental.
It's nuts.
Yeah, Belfast not really streaming either. I happen to have a free rental from FiOS on that, so I got that one in. But I mean, between that, I saw HBO Max for a couple of them. I saw Netflix for a couple of them, Hulu for a couple of them, Apple Plus. I mean, it's just too many. It's just too spread out.
Yeah, this is one of those things where if they're nominated, I wish that the streaming services and their rights would just agree to put them all in one place so everyone could watch them. Put your mark in front of it saying this is also streaming on HBO Max, so you get your advertising, if you will, if you want people to be driven to your website. But just as a movie watcher, I don't like needing to bounce back and forth and needing to spend money on all this stuff. Put them all in one centralized location.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the snubs here too. I think you and I are in clear agreement here. Like, how the hell did Denis Villeneuve not get nominated for Best Director when Dune got Best Picture nomination and was basically nominated in every single technical category, which he oversees? How does he not get that?
I mean, this is really the only snub I had. I mean, when I saw this topic you put on, I was like, listen, this is the only thing that really matters. He, for me, wins Best Director, hands down. Like you said, he oversaw all the technical achievements of this movie, which it should sweep in terms of sound and special effects and stuff like that. Also, to adapt this book into a coherent 2.5-hour movie that's also entertaining, but still continues the story. Villeneuve did so much with Dune. The fact he's not recognized is absolutely insane. We agree that's by far the biggest snub.
Yeah, I could not understand it when I saw the list, and I've seen most of the movies on the list. It's like, for me, I'm trying to look at the current, like the best director category, just trying to see who's there. But like, I'm trying to figure out who I would take out because again, Licorice Pizza is easy. I haven't seen it, but I don't know if that's fair. That director.
So yeah, I mean, looking at it, Kenneth Branagh is in every single nomination. Rasuki Hamugachi, sorry for Drive My Car. I'm mispronouncing that. I'm sorry. Didn't have time to look up pronunciations. But I love Drive My Car. I don't have a problem with him being there. He wouldn't necessarily be in mine from the movies I've seen, but it's very, very good. Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson's in it for a lot of people. Jane Champion, I think she might win it for Power of the Dog because that movie's incredible. The one I would take out is Steven Spielberg. And now, granted, I'm waiting to watch West Side Story with my girlfriend, so my hands are up. Like, I have not seen it yet. I'm seeing it before the Oscars. It's going to happen. But, Mike, this is a movie that's being remade. Spielberg has something to work off of.
Yes.
Like, he has a groundwork that he could base his vision off of, and he knows how to be different than the original where people will be looking for it, right? Like, people are going to be comparing the two, so he knows that he needs to make a difference somehow. These other people are creating something brand new out of something else. And it's not like if Denis Villeneuve was nominated for Dune and the fact that was made a motion picture before. West Side Story is considered one of the best movies of all time. And that's what Steven Spielberg is basing his off of, right? His reaction. The first Dune was terrible and nobody liked it. It was a disaster. So Denis Villeneuve wouldn't even use anything for inspiration from that movie, theoretically. He would want to create something all his own. So if I had to pick, it'd be Spielberg just because he's basing it off another movie that happened before. Now, granted, I have not seen it yet. It may change my mind at the time of this recording, but that would be my opinion.
Yeah, I think in terms of movies I've seen too, I think in terms of this one, I do like. I don't know if you've seen Don't Look Up yet. Like, I don't. I feel like I don't like the fact they got the nomination because I feel like it literally was just Oscar bait with all the stars in there being a satire on global warming and all the uh, ecological disasters they could be facing here. But I feel like there are other movies you could have put in there instead of that one.
Yeah, like for me, Tragedy Macbeth should have been in Best Picture. That movie is the second most visually stunning movie this year, and you could argue it's number one. It could be better than Dune in terms of the visual storytelling in that movie, the production design, the cinematography, the directing by Joel Cohen. I would put him, he's in my personal Oscar nominations for Best Director. That whole movie was remarkably crafted, beautiful. You could tell that story without any dialogue, and you'd be able to know exactly what's happening. And so for me, that one also, Joel Cohen should have been in Best Director, and Macbeth should have been in the Best Picture race.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a little biased here because I think from what I saw, I think Tick Tick Boom also should have got a little more love than it did.
My opinions on that movie have dwindled down a little bit. I still think Andrew Garfield is great, but I've seen clips of how the editing isn't great during the movie, just scrolling TikTok, because my TikTok is all movies and cats, thanks to my girlfriend. But it's just little bits of the editing that are a little sticky, a little bit of the storytelling and stuff like that. So in my estimation of that as like a crafted movie, I think it's fallen a little bit, though granted, I was still very entertained and very moved by it. So as an emotional adventure, sure, it's up there. But as a critiquing just like the editing and the directing, not as enthused as I was when I first saw it. Kind of a little bit of a captive of the moment the first time I saw it.
Yeah, and I think in terms of your TikToking with the movies and the cats, did you ever converge and you get 2019 cats TikToks on your screen?
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen at all. I don't want to see any of that stuff. No, no. Unless it's Taylor Swift as the cat, I'll be okay with that. That's the only caveat I'd make.
Yeah, and the other big headline here is obviously they made a controversial decision a few weeks ago to pre-tape some of the technical categories just to try and streamline the show. I'm not a fan of it because I'm like, you know what? It's one night a year. These people worked hard to get the nominations. Like, they should be able to have their speech be like live. And you know what? Like, you're getting in for a long ceremony at the Oscars. Like, this is not saving you that much time.
I agree with you. For me, also, I love the technical side. I would be more intrigued in watching the technical side and the kind of behind the scenes and the speeches revolving around that. Everyone wants to see the big awards, right? Those are where the stars are. But for the movie lovers, they also want to see the technical stuff. Why, Mike? Why don't they live stream it like the first 2 hours where you're giving away the technical awards? Why don't they put it on ABC YouTube Live? Just do the whole entire show, maybe a few less cameras, a few less graphics, but then just it's like a WWE WrestleMania where you have the pre-show, it's live for everyone, and then come 8 o'clock, come prime time, you direct everyone to go to ABC on their local television or wherever, smart TV, and then you go see the big show. Why not do that? Why not have people be able to watch the full 5 hour show if they want? Why cut it down to 3 and not give people their shine?
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel bad for these people. Let's go now to some of the minor categories. Let's start technical. I know you're very big on the technical, so tell me which technical category you're excited about.
The production design category is loaded, Mike Phillips. Loaded. You have Dune, which we've talked about already, the cinematic masterpiece. Nightmare Alley, which has a totally unique feel, really remarkable, especially the carnival settings. Power of the Dog has no wasted shots in it. Sure, there's not a lot of different sets, if you will, but all the sets are very purposeful. And you have Tragedy Macbeth, which is absolutely remarkable in this visual storytelling. And for me, it's 1A, 1B between that and Dune. And then everything I've heard about West Side Story is worthy of recognition as well. And it basically, if it's anything like the original, it deserves it as well in terms of staging all the different set pieces. So that category is loaded beyond belief. Like that's the biggest takeaway for me in terms of the technical categories.
As somebody who's seen West Side Story, I would say those reports are accurate. The staging on that movie is very well done.
Yeah, I mean that for me is the biggest takeaway forever. But for me personally, like in that category, if Dune doesn't win, we riot because Dune is the best. Dune is the best combination of CGI and practical effects since, for me, Lord of the Rings. Like that whole trilogy was the perfect blend of it. Peter Jackson kind of lost that magic with the Hobbit trilogy. Dune was another example of how you can make it work and how you can make it seem seamless, where you don't know what's real and you don't know what's not. I mean, they freaking made sand interesting. Like
Yes.
who gives a crap what spice looks like? But you watch Dune and you're captivated by it. You're mesmerized. So I love this category. So this is the one that stands out for me.
I will also say Dune Spice greater than Star Wars Spice.
Oh my god, absolutely! I forgot about that from the Book of Boba Fett. That's right. Also, can we talk about Book of Boba Fett? Cobb Vanth just being in 2 episodes and gone and dead. Like what was that? Or no, not Cobb Vanth. Bane. Sorry, Bane. Cad Bane.
Oh, we
He's in
hate.
2 episodes and he's just gone.
Yeah,
What is that?
Oh, we hated that so much. Like,
Yeah, that is ridiculous. His entrance was dope.
yes,
Loved it. Big fan. But then he's just gone. Now, granted, he's possible to come back because they didn't show him lying dead on the ground, the different cuts and all that stuff. Like, he's definitely possibly still alive. But like that was ridiculous with the Book of Boba Fett. You're getting rid of the arguably the best secondary character from the Clone Wars, and you're gonna get rid of him like that with an underwhelming Boba Fett show. Ugh.
Yeah, and for me, like the problem, I'll go on the Boba Fett rabbit hole for one more second here. Just think that the problem with that show also is that they went through so many villains, and most of them sucked. I mean, you had the mayor's assistant, you had the mayor, you had the twins, you had the Pikes, and then he shows up in episode 6, and finally like, man, we hate this guy. This is awesome. He's great, and then he's dead about an episode and a half later.
Yeah, that was incredibly disappointing. I wish he was in the Banta tank at the end, getting healed. I didn't want Cobb Vanth back. He's fine. He was a great little bit character. He died. We felt for him. We didn't want him to die. The stakes. Bring back the bad guy.
Yeah. He still could because, I mean, there are theories on the internet, but you saw that little red button beeping on his suit, and in Bad Batch, he does have a droid that works for him. You could just have the droid like come pick him up, and then we could see him show up in another show.
I would love for that to happen. That would make me happy.
Yeah, now let's go to, I think, probably the Oscar movie that I think most of the country has probably seen at this point, which is Encanto.
That's a great point.
This is the movie that most of the country has actually seen here, and it's the top, I think, the frontrunner in the animated film category. Do you think, given the buzz it's had, do you think it's the lock for best animated film?
I think it's the favorite. I don't think it's a lock. The reason I say that is there's another movie nominated called Flea, which is nominated for both Best Animated Feature and Best Documentary. So the fact of the matter is Best Documentary seems to be a lock with The Summer of Soul. But if they want to give Flea the recognition for being awarded in 2 different categories, never happened before between animated and documentary, maybe they'll give it the animated award. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think Encanto is probably like a 70-30 favorite to win it, but I wouldn't be like utterly, totally shocked if Flea took home this award. And I think we should mention Mitchell's versus the Machines because a lot of people like that movie, but it came out very early in 2021, so many people forgot about it. But that was also very well respected when it came out. But if you were laying money down on the Oscars, you probably have to lay down a bit of the odds. But Encanto, you put some money down, you win some money back, most likely.
Yeah, it's funny because I know Luca's in that category too, also from Disney, and Encanto has blew it out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, Luca, there was no lasting impact whatsoever. And while I think Raya the Last Dragon, I believe, is the other Disney Plus movie that was well received, more so than Luca, I think, in terms of like an entertainment standpoint and kids rewatching it. But I think Encanto might be more of a lock to win Best Original Song than it is to win Best Animated Feature, if you were to absolutely put a stone cold lock on it in one of the categories.
Yeah, if it wins Best Original Song, then Lin-Manuel Miranda will complete the EGOT.
He will complete the EGOT. Yes, he will. And we will see more of him, which, depending on your opinion, is good or bad.
I'm sensing you're leaning towards the bad.
I like it better when he is behind the camera and not in front of it. Let's just say that. I enjoyed Encanto, the movie, quite a bit with his music and stuff, but when he's in a movie, or maybe when he's directing it, it's not as strong.
Yeah, I think they have that one is a good shot to win the Best Original Song, although I think Billie Eilish, No Time to Die also is a good contender in that category.
Really? I don't think this Billie Eilish song has a lot of headwind behind it because it came out so much before the movie ended up coming out. because the movie kept on getting delayed and delayed, but the song came out months before it.
Yeah, it's had a lot of time to like sit with the artist as possible too. That maybe like Encanto just really just wrapped it in the last like couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, also, I believe Billie Eilish had a song that was a movie, a documentary that was on like the short list for best documentary feature, like the short list, like just when they released the top 30 movies that can be considered. So again, she was in that awards talk early on, not just for her song, but also for her documentary. So maybe that gives her a leg up as well.
Yeah, maybe. So let's go with best adapted screenplay. What do you think about that?
Best adapted screenplay. Rolling along here. This is probably the toughest category for me, as I have this written down in my notes. For me, this is the hardest pick between Power of the Dog and Dune, my two favorite movies of the year. How about that? Dune, I read the book, so I know what Denis Villeneuve did and his writing staff did in taking down all the exposition that's in the book and making it concise and entertaining and weaving it into the story so that if you never read the book, you would never even notice that you're being fed this information. Now, Power of the Dog, the story fascinated me. The ending left me aghast. I was stunned to silence, and it was done so perfectly and beautifully. And there is more told in the subtlety of Power of the Dog than any other movie I've seen this year. So, with that being said, I am picking Power of the Dog to win Best Adapted Screenplay for me over Dune, and that it comes with a heavy, heavy heart. But this is for me the toughest category, and it's between these two heavyweights.
Yeah, I could see that's gonna be a big challenge. I know best original screenplay. I know you told me off the air you have not seen many of these, so I will weigh in here. I feel like that a certain number of nominations that Belfast had, and that this is gonna be where they reward it. I feel like they're gonna give it to this one because I don't think they're gonna win a couple of the other categories they're in.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a very personal story, right? This
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh, this is told from like his family, his heart. So they always like to award that little sentimentality. So I would not be surprised about that at all.
If Don't Look Up gets this, I will Mariah because I really am not a fan of that movie.
Yeah, that movie is very, very polarizing. Now, if we're talking about pulling the heartstrings, right, which Belfast does, you have King Richard in there, and you are more of a fan of King Richard than I am. So do you think that has any chance with the star power behind that movie? The Williams sisters are going to be there at the Oscars. Do they want to give the entire screenplay the win to make sure they get everyone up on the stage and they can have that moment?
I don't think they care about that. I think they're going to be there. I think Will Smith's going to be there. I think that's where it's going to happen.
We'll talk about Will Smith in a bit.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the Kenneth Branagh Award. So give it to him for because I mean the screenplay was very good. I will give him that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've only heard great things about the movie, and I'm watching it eventually, and it's beautifully shot, and I've heard the story is the most memorable part. It'll leave you in a puddle of tears. So I'm all for that. I'll pack my tissues.
Absolutely will. And next up here, best supporting actor.
So I mean, Coda's taken this award, right? He's won the Critics Awards, he's won the SAG Awards. Troy Kotsur.
Troy Kotsur absolutely steals that movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's won every single award for this movie. I personally like Cody Smith-McPhee from The Power of the Dog because again, that ending and his final 10 minutes of that movie and his manipulation done strictly with his eyes and his face still looms with me this day. But I mean, this is going to Cody and Kotsur. Like he's won every single award thus far, and it's going to be a great sentimental moment. And one of that, the Oscars could also preach diversity. Something that they've lacked in the past as well with him winning this award. So this may be a stone cold lock in terms of all the acting categories.
Yeah, and I watched Coda recently. I mean, that's one of my favorite movies of the cycle is Coda, and I do think that he's gonna get it, and he deserves to get it because the acting he has in that movie is incredible, and I do love his performance. And I think I know you said there's some stuff in this category. I don't know how J.K. Simmons got in it.
I like J.K. Simmons. He was very fun in being with the Ricardos, but again, necessarily he's a name. He's a former Oscar winner for supporting actor, I believe, as well with Whiplash. So he's used to success in this category, but I think it's not no one else's award except for Kotsur. He's going to take this home. He could prepare his speech now. Just memorize it because you're going to win.
Yeah, he casually can. And best supporting actress. I know you haven't seen West Side Story yet, but all the buzz is based on Ariana DeBose. And I've seen, I think, everyone in this category. She's probably my top pick of the ones I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen her. People really like Kirsten Dunst in The Power of the Dog, but if I'm being honest with you, she is my least favorite part of the four major parts in that movie. So she would not win the award for me. Have you seen The Lost Daughter, Mike? Have you gotten to that on your watch list yet?
I did.
So yeah, The Lost Daughter. I love Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter. For me, it's incredibly hard to outact Olivia Colman in a movie, but Jessie Buckley does show. Her portrayal as the main character in her younger self and all the mistakes that she makes along the way, they stick with you like leeches when you step into a pond you shouldn't, and they're just sucking the life force out of you. And every misstep that she takes, you feel the tweaking of the ankle that she's making for her reputation and her family. So I would give Jessie Buckley this award, though there's absolutely no shot she's going to win it.
Yeah, another one. I'm happy Anjanou Ellis got nominated in the category for King Richard. She was an underrated part of that movie, but she has no shot at winning either.
I would agree. She was very, very good in King Richard. I agree with you. She stuck out, even though she was only on the screen for maybe 10 minutes, if that. But she was great in those 10 minutes. So yes, I agree with you there.
All right. Next up here, I'm gonna see what I had on the rundown here. Let's go to best support. We'll go to best actor here. I know you have a hot take on this category.
I do. Me and you are going to disagree wholeheartedly on this one. I think we both agree that Will Smith is probably going to win.
Yes, I would think that's going to happen.
I don't think that should happen at all. I don't think so at all. For me, he's not in my top 5 performances this year. Is he good in King Richard? Yes, he is. I think he's very good. Is he superb? No, I personally don't think so. For me, this is Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, because there's no more despicable character in any movie this year than his character in Power of the Dog. But yet, by the end, you're feeling empathy for him when you think there's no way that's possible at all. And to have that transformation of a character within a story is a testament not only to the screenplay, not only to the director Jane Champion for her direction of Benedict Cumberbatch, but also to his acting. So I would give this to Benedict Cumberbatch, though I would agree with you that there's no way. I think Will Smith is winning this award 80-20. I'd be shocked if he didn't win this award. Also for the star power, because you get Will Smith on stage and you're going to get eyes. You're going to get eyeballs on the TV.
Yeah, plus I'm sure, there's also a little bit of Will Smith is kind of due for one, because he had a lot of times good performances he did not get the call for. I do think he was great in this movie. Cumberbatch was very, very good in The Power of the Dog, so I think it literally is a 2-horse race in them, which I think this category is stacked this year. I think there's 4 really good performers in there. I think Bardem is by far number 5.
Yeah, how did Bardem get in? He was good, but he wasn't great. It was like J.K. Simmons. Like, he's a name that you recognize, but like for me, a couple snubs in this category that I would have put in instead of Bardem. I would have put in Nicolas Cage for Pig. I don't know if you saw that one, but he was really, really good. Yeah, and I would have put in Bradley Cooper for Nightmare Alley, which not as many people were as high on as I was, but I thought Bradley Cooper was very good in that movie, and the final scene of that movie sticks with you almost as powerfully as Power of the Dog. So those are 2 that I would have put in the place of Javier Bardem.
Yeah, I think I would lean Cooper if it was my pick.
Yeah. Right, that last scene in Nightmare Alley, you don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but it sticks with you. It's just a major, just the downfall that he takes. Whew.
Yeah, it was not a good movie for his character there. I also want to throw out here in terms of like Garfield being in the category is great, and I do think that like in a lot of other years I think he would win, but I do think that the top 2 heavyweights here got really just push into that number 3 slot.
Yeah, I agree. Garfield was by far the best part of Tick, Tick, Boom. He went all out. He did his own singing. It was great. He was very theatrical, and he was phenomenal. And he by far the best part of that movie. He campaigned, I think, pretty hard. Now, granted, he was on the press a lot for Spider-Man, so his face has just been plastered everywhere, which I think has helped his case in getting some notoriety for his performance in Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yeah, like I enjoy his performance the most of the 5 on there, but I think in terms of the best, I still think it's Will Smith.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. All right, now the best actors category. I've seen 3 of these. I have not seen yet. I have not seen. Let me see. Look at the list here. Which one did I not get to yet? I did not get to The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and get to Jessica Chastain or Parallel Mothers Penelope Cruz. I've seen the other 3 though.
I have not seen Parallel Mothers able to rent anywhere, and Penelope Cruz is the only one in this category that I haven't seen yet. I've seen the other 4. So I can't talk about Penelope Cruz. I didn't see her, but all these performances I have seen, the 4 of them are all good. And there's a ton of star power in this category, right? There's every single name in here is recognizable. And I think with this Best Actress category, it comes down to 2 people in my mind. You have Nicole Kidman for being the Ricardos, and you have Kristen Stewart for Spencer. We both seen those movies, right?
Yes.
We both know what happens with these actors in those movies. Would you agree with me that Nicole Kidman, what she does in Being the Ricardos, has so much to do with the dialogue? She's doing so much with her voice and her dialect and her speaking tone and how fast she talks. She's working with the screenplay. They're like a zipper. They're just going up the scene the exact same way. There's no missteps. It's fluid and it's smooth, with the dialogue being the key kind of fulcrum. For Kristen Stewart and Spencer, there's a lot happening without any dialogue. It's the angst of her acting. It's the horror story that's being told about her being held captive in a place she doesn't want to be. So it's two very different type of acting performances between, in my opinion, the two best in this category. So I don't know what your take is on this category, Mike.
Yeah, I lean towards Nicole Kidman. I just think the challenge that she faces here. I mean, obviously they're playing two very iconic women, so like the expectations are very high. But like, especially for someone who has been in the public eye for like over the past like 60, 70 years, as much as Lucille Ball is for I Love Lucy, she did a damn good job like portraying her in this movie.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would put Nicole Kidman up just a smidge ahead of Kristen Stewart. Though I would not be upset if Stewart won, because her performance is phenomenal as Princess Diana. So I agree with you. Kidman is just a smidge a bit higher. And also, we know Hollywood loves to vote Hollywood sometimes. And Being the Ricardos is a story about the backstage of Hollywood. So that also may help push things in her direction.
Yeah, and now we go to Best Director here. I do think you're right. I do think that this is Jane Campion's category to lose right now, but it should be Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, it should be Denis Villeneuve. That's my first bullet point under this category. But Jane Champion's going to win this award. And I think that's really all about it. I think this one is pretty sewn up.
Yeah. And last but not least here, Best Picture. Again, the only one I've not seen here is Licorice Pizza. I've seen the rest of them, so.
So how about you give your opinion first? You've seen more than I have. You go down the list and kind of give your little spiel, because you know more about it than I do at this point.
Okay. Belfast is fine. I thought it was a good movie. I think it's more of an original screenplay winner. I will say that one here. I think I'll give you the top three I have on my board. I think the top three, okay, I think is Coda, Dune, and Power of the Dog. The top three.
Okay. All right. So I haven't seen Coda yet. I have it downloaded on my laptop, so it will be watched this week. That is a Stanko guarantee. My top three thus far are probably Dune is my number one. Power of the Dog is my number two. And my number three is fluctuating. Probably, honestly, might be Drive My Car. Because that might be recency bias, though, because I just saw it.
Yeah, that was the last one I saw, too.
So, but the fact that movie got made and that screenplay got adapted into a 3-hour just character study of breaking down everyone's flaws and stuff like that is remarkable. But for me, there's the top two. There's Dune, there's Power of the Dog, and then there's a second tier. For me, Dune and Power of the Dog are right now they're atop the pedestal. Again, I got to see Coda because people are making a big push for it, and it's won all the ensemble awards heading into the Oscars, which is really important. It's won some screenplay awards as well for original screenplay. So Apple TV Plus is trying to make a splash, and if they do it before Netflix, against Netflix, that would be something pretty special.
Yeah, I would honestly, if I had to pick, I would pick Coda as my number one movie.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I mean, it's downloaded on my laptop. It is ready to go. I renewed my Apple TV Plus subscription so I could watch it. So I have Apple TV Plus for a whole nother year to make sure I saw it.
Yeah, and I loved that movie, and the acting is incredible. And like I said, obviously, we talked about Kotzer earlier and how he's going to win the Best Actor role, and I think it's a movie that I think also does a good job of like context of providing like an important spotlight to like the deaf community, which does not really get much attention in Hollywood because it's very hard to portray on screen. But like the amount of care they give to these characters, the amount of like investment they give in each of them, and say like not even just the Titular Coda, who is basically the daughter, the only one who could actually speak and hear normally. They give all the main deaf characters like the ability to elevate their own story and show that they're not just helpless people who need the daughter to do everything for them. I think that whole storyline I think is going to be a very powerful one. That's why the push is being made so hard.
Yeah, I mean it's a great uplifting story. Again, I've heard only positive things about it. There's two movies in Best Picture that have sign language. Drive My Car also has quite a bit of it, especially in the second half of the movie. So that's a little bit of an interesting tidbit there. And you, as a Marvel fan, I'm finally finishing up Eternals this today, probably, or tomorrow morning, the day we're recording here. And there's sign language in that movie too, but Eternals is not anywhere near any Oscar conversation, so we could skip
Oh
that.
no. Oh no, no, no. I think it's probably. I think I have is like a bottom three more movie I've seen.
It's not good. I have 20 minutes left. The movie has dragged, and I still have 20 minutes left as of this recording, and it has been a slog.
Yeah. So real quick, like what movies are left on your best picture queue you haven't gotten to yet?
So I'm watching Don't Look Up and West Side Story with my girlfriend.
Okay.
I'm watching Coda most likely Wednesday on the train because Tuesday I have to write my Bachelor recap because priorities. Licorice Pizza, like you said, is not available to rent anywhere, and so that's that. So I think I need to see four.
Yeah. I think did you get to Belfast or not yet?
No, I've not gone to Belfast yet, so I need to get to five. Oh well, now the pressure's on me. So
Yeah.
oopsies.
Yeah. I'd say Coda is your next. Coda should be your next one.
Coda is my next one. It's downloaded. Like I make a commitment when I download it, I'm watching it. It's not keeping up storage on my laptop or my phone. So it's going to happen, Mike. I promise you. I will text you my thoughts when I finally see it.
Yeah, and I think that one will warrant a blog post too, in my opinion.
I've been cranking them out, so it will most likely be a long one. So again, my only gripe with the Best Picture category in terms of the films that were nominated and the films I've seen is the tragedy Macbeth should be in there from the movies that I have seen thus far. It might not be by the end of it, but from what I've seen thus far, it should be.
Yeah, I know you. I don't know if you've seen it or not yet, but like, what did you think about the popular outcry? People like upset that No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, did not get consideration for the Best Picture.
From what I've heard, it's a great entertainment movie, but even the movie critics at Barstool, who are comic book movie aficionados and enthusiasts, agreed that it should be nowhere near the Oscar conversation in terms of Best Picture.
Yeah,
So I have Marvel fans in the office telling me that no, it doesn't deserve anything. People upset about it just want to see a Marvel movie in the conversation rather than like it actually deserving it. So like for me, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse could have been nominated for Best Picture because that movie was incredible and genuinely fantastic. So I have yet to see No Way Home though.
yeah. I think if you were talking about any of the Marvel movies, I think the one I think that would have could have been in the mix if they had 10. I think Black Panther probably would have been in there if they had 10.
Yeah, I mean, people love Black Panther. I'm not a huge fan, though I'm in the minority with it. For me, Thor Ragnarok would have been in there because that's truly original, and I love that. I'll tell you what, though, we weren't supposed to talk about this, but we both saw the Batman.
I have not gotten to it yet. I've been busy with work.
Oh, all right. Well, you've seen all these movies. I finally got one up on you. But the Batman is dope. It's really, really good. It is not just a comic book movie. It is art. Matt Reeves, whew, very, very good. So I'll be curious to see when that gets dragged up come the 2023 Oscars because it might.
Yeah, I was gonna say that from what I'm hearing, I feel like this one could be a Best Picture sleeper next year. Like, it could get in the category.
Yeah, I mean, still, it's very, very early for me. It's the technical categories that Batman flourishes because Greg Fraser, who did cinematography for Dune and a couple Mandalorian episodes and Zero Dark 30, also did Batman. And guess what? You could tell he's really good in everything that he does. And now he's going to be doing that horror series based off Arkham for HBO Max. He's going to be working on that as well. So I am all aboard the Greg Fraser train and Batman in terms of the technical standpoint. Really, really good.
Yeah, the issue for me with the Batman is just that, like, right now, like, March's my busy month for the tournament, so like I have a lot of work to do. It's hard to, it's considering the length of the movie. It's like hard for me to bank out 3.5 hours counting previews to go see that on a given day.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Yeah, I mean, with my girlfriend and I, it was deciding between going to see that or West Side Story, and we decided to go see the Batman and treat ourselves. Though, I mean, compared to I've seen all the live action Batmans. I'm sure you have as well, or the majority of them. The Batman, this recent one, currently is number 2 in my rankings in terms of Batman movies.
Yeah, I talked to Martia Pucci on the podcast. I think he said it was basically Dark Knight is better. This is better than Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree.
All right, there you have it, Jon Stanko. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, I hope you follow us on the social media streets and keep up with some of your stuff.
I'm cranking out blogs on Stanko's Stance. If you want movies, some random sports, I just put up a blog about 10 things that should be illegal in all movie theaters. I had a lot of fun ranting and raving on that one. So follow me at Stanko Stance and follow me on Twitter or any social media at jstanko99.
Absolutely, John. Thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.